Okay, today I'm going to share with you continuous writing for descriptive essay. Okay, so the topic is outing with friends. Okay, we have SPM 2012 question, which is describe an outing with your friends. Okay, and then we have a lot of trial questions about outing with friends. Okay, for example, the first one here is describe your first outing after movement control order, MCO. Explain what you did and your feelings at that time. So that was Kelantan Trial 2020. You may ask what are the differences between describe and writing a story. Okay, so describe is descriptive, writing a story is narrative. So from previous essays, we know that when you write a story, you have to have plots, you have to have climax, you have to have raising action, you have to have falling action. So when writing a story, you have to have something that happened, something that triggered, something that can become the climax of the story. So it can be something that is very funny, something that is very horrible, something that is very embarrassing. So that kind of story, something that will interest your reader. Okay, as for describing, your marks will be given on how details. Okay, as for descriptive essay, you have to use a lot of adjectives. You have to describe everything that you see. You have to describe everything that you do or you did. You have to describe, as for descriptive essay, you have to use a lot of descriptions. Okay, so normally you are asked to describe what did you see, what did you do, what did you what did you see, what did you do, what were your feelings during that time. Okay, so that's the difference. Okay, so I listed out all these questions because, okay, for the descriptive essay that I share with you here, you can also use it for the narrative essay questions below. It's just that you have to add some plots to it. Okay, you can use the same situation, the same setting. You just have to add an interesting plot to make it an interesting story. So for this sample answer, I choose to write about describe your first outing after MCO. Explain what you did and your feelings at that time. So this one is Kelantan 2020. So for intro, we have MCO, when was it, and then describe the outing day, who do you hang out with, where were you planning to go, and then when, okay, so for this essay, I wrote that the group of friends went to, I and my friends, okay, for this essay, I wrote that my friends and I went to Ion Bukit Tinggi to watch a movie. So describe, okay, use a lot of description, use a lot of adjectives to describe what you could see, what did you do, what were your feelings. Okay, so now let's start. It is already January 2021, yet we are still struggling in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic. The current abrupt rise in COVID-19 cases in Malaysia made my heart sink. I really hope that our government will be able to suppress the virus outbreak this time, similar to what this nation had managed to do months ago in June 2020. Yes, June 2020. I missed the beautiful feelings of accomplishment we Malaysians celebrated as we got days of zero cases. The government even lifted the MCO and declared recovery MCO instead, where businesses resumed as usual by obeying the new norm. There is one particular day that I will always remember for the rest of my life, June 10, 2020. It was a bright, beautiful morning with a azure sky welcoming a new, most anticipated face formulations. I glanced at the small mirror I took out of my bag for the last time, checking if there were any visible flaws on my face or if I should apply more lip balm to my lips. Perfect, I mumbled to myself. As I heard tires screeching, I found myself standing in an instant before heading out of the house. I was extremely happy for this was going to be my first outing with my friends after months of lockdown. Ben's yellow Myvi shone brightly under the glimmering sun as I excitedly quickened my pace to hop into it. I could not help but grinning from ear to ear as I saw Ben and Amy, as we all had a fantastic camaraderie since we got to know each other years ago. Ben already obtained a driving license, one of the perks of being a January baby. We giggled hysterically at each other's changes after months of hiatus. Ben looked funny as his hair was long and thick, while Amy was no longer flawless as she had pimples here and there. And as for my case, I had to sadly admit that I gained so many extra kilos. With the new pop song from Blackpink banging in the background, we talked a mile a minute, trying to do all the catch-ups as soon as possible. Ben was helping at his father's farm while managing time for online classes, and Amy had been busy doing makeup reviews on Instagram, which resulted in zits on her face due to the numerous products she appraised. They burst out laughing as I explained how I ended up gobbling the not fit for sale desserts my mom experimented for her online sale. We decided to go to Ion Bukit Tinggi to watch a movie. As we arrived at the mall, we ensured our masks fitted well and sanitized our hands. Even though no cases was reported in our district, we still took the precautions as we knew that the pandemic was still raging worldwide. To be honest, even though I was excited to be with my friends, deep down in my heart I was petrified with the probability of getting the virus whenever I touched the railings, the elevator buttons, or even the tap in the toilet. Those surfaces might be contaminated, right? Hence, I hung my hand sanitizer to my bag's zipper so that I could use it whenever I was in doubt. Was I paranoid? I believed it's better to be safe than sorry. I kept reminding Ben and Amy about sanitizing their hands too, but it irked them because I was preaching about it non-stop. The mall was not as empty as how I predicted it to be, but it was not crowded either. People were still cautious about going out in public places, which was actually a good thing to help minimize the spread of the disease. We were blissful for not having to queue to buy our TGV tickets for Scoob, another Scooby-Doo movie. And the cinema was half occupied too. Alas, half the fun was gone. We were seated with empty middle seats between us, following the standard operating procedures for social distancing. Now, I realized that this new norm had taken away the pleasures of watching movies with friends because we could no longer share our popcorns and our whispers throughout the entire 2 hours duration. Then, we decided to grab our lunch at Kenny Rogers Roasters, which was Ben's favorite. Our tummies roared as the smell of perfectly tender and juicy oven-roasted chicken, marinated with herbs like rosemary and oregano, traveled into our nostrils. The loudest roar came from Ben, who was starving because he skipped breakfast in order to gorge himself on a half-chicken platter. We continued laughing and chatting animatedly as if we had not contacted each other for years. Yes, WhatsApp video calls could never replace a random chit-chat like this. Feeling satiated, we then decided to walk for a while before heading back home. We were grateful because this simple outing was more than enough to bring back our sanity after the 3 months lockdown. And looking at today's situation, I was glad that we managed to seize the opportunity and enjoy the freedom before it is taken away again from us. Thank you.